I'm Rae.
And I'm Derek.
We're married.
And we love movies.
So we decided to take on an iconic genre
that we aren't experts in.
Slashers! Join us every other week
as we dive into horror.
This is Lovin' Slashers. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lovin' Slashers. Glad you could join us. Derek, how are you, my love?
I'm good, babe. I'm excited to talk about this movie. It's a little late. It's 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday, but it's fine. That's what we do. Parent life.
Yeah.
And all that jazz. But we're talking Halloween 2 Electric Boogaloo. I'm just kidding.
It's Halloween I.
That's true.
But if you type in Halloween 11 in Google, like I did, it still takes you to Halloween 2.
Oh, so, good.
Thank you.
They know, yeah.
Thank you, Google.
This is the 1981 sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween, which we covered in episode 1. Welcome to episode 4 of the show. This one is directed by Rick Rosenthal, who also directed 2002's Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so he comes...
usually talk like that. I don't know why he did that.
He comes back around. It was still written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. They both, of course, wrote the original, so they were heavily involved. And the movie has the return of Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie.
Right.
Dick Warlock as The Shape.
That is a fantastic name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Dick Warlock, like, straight up, if I was ever going to do a joke D&D campaign, like, that would be a character.
I should have looked into whether or not that's his real name. Yeah, no, I don't know. I didn't dive that deep.
Right.
But there's one other kind of returning character, guest type person of note, and that's Nancy Loomis, who played Annie in the first film. Spoilers for the first Halloween movie. But
guys, spoilers in all these movies. The 1970s and 80s. Like, come on.
Well, just, she dies in the first movie. So she gets to play her corpse in Halloween 2. And she's also on the phone. She gets to play Alice's friend.
That's hilarious. That's really cool.
That's your first Fright Fact.
I like that one. That was a good Fright Fact.
Yeah, you frightened? Yeah.
So before we get too deep into this, I am going to reveal the answer to last week's trivia question.
Well, do you want my guess?
No, I want you to tell me after if you guessed correctly.
Oh, okay.
So, the most watched horror film in other films is George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And it's so fantastic because it is watched in this movie.
And the crowd goes wild.
Did you get it?
I did.
Nice.
Did.
Nice.
I was flip-flopping a little bit. I narrowed it down to 3. Mm-hmm. That was my first choice. Choice number 2 was Thing from Another World, which is what John Carpenter later remakes as The Thing.
Yeah.
And number 3 was Psycho.
Nice.
Those were my 3.
Those are pretty good choices.
So, but
I think it's got to be Romero just asked for less. And
certainly possible.
What I heard, Romero was just everybody's friend.
He's a good dude. He just likes zombies.
Well, he knew that in the 1960s, people weren't going to take him seriously if he did a bunch of, allegories for racism or consumerism in a normal way. So he did it with zombies.
Sure. No, it's great.
And it worked.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Halloween 2, just want to point out a little bit more of the cast. Stars Lance Guest as Jimmy, who people might know from The Last Starfighter.
No way.
He's the lead in The Last Starfighter.
That's pretty great.
Which is really cool. I love that. I didn't know he was in this. And Last Starfighter is one of my favorite movies ever. So I just thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
Fun kind of connection with all of this. But The Last Starfighter was directed by Nick Castle, who was one of the other people to play the Shape in the first movie. Because 6 different people played Mike Myers in the first film.
Yeah.
And then Last Starfighter also stars Dan O'Hurley, who stars in Halloween 3. So lots of kind of connections in The Last Starfighter back to this franchise, which I didn't know. So some more Fright Facts.
Fright Facts.
I need like a little thing, whatever you call it. Yeah. There's a term for the thing, the insert.
Yeah. But I mean, as cool as some little sound effects would be, we're also not shock jocks. We don't need yet. Oh my god, hire us for your dying radio station.
I'd love to work radio.
It would be fun.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. Oh well, we'll start our own station.
With blackjack and hookers.
That's right.
Forget the blackjack.
So, some history about this movie.
Yeah.
John Carpenter and Deborah Hill did not want to make this movie. They were very against it.
I can tell that.
They very much wanted the original to stand on its own, and they had no interest in doing a sequel, but they were more or less pressured into it. And
why is that? Where did the pressure come from?
Well, that's a good question. I have that in my notes here somewhere if I could just find them. Yeah, so the reason John Carpenter and Deborah Hill decided to eventually do this was John Carpenter thought it was his only chance to make back the money he was supposed to be paid for the first film. He ended up not getting his salary for the first film back then. Now, today, fast forward, and he's gotten back-end percentages now. But back then, he hadn't gotten paid.
Yeah.
So he thought this was his opportunity to basically make his money back by writing this one and producing it.
Okay.
So he made himself a much more active producer on the film and everything like that. But he did not like the script. He was not happy with it. And there's really some key moments in this that are tied into the television version of the first film, not the theatrical cut. If you rewind back to episode 1, when we talked about the original Halloween, we talked about how they had to go back and shoot extra scenes to lengthen the film for a TV broadcast.
Right.
Well, they shot those scenes while they were shooting Halloween 2.
Okay.
At the same time. And so they actually leveraged Dick Warlock in both of those endeavors, and these were being shot at the same time. And so that's where the sibling angle comes from. So if you watch the original theatrical cut of Halloween, there's really nothing there to make you think there's any real connection between Michael Myers and Laurie.
Other than he saw her that morning.
Right.
You know, like that's it.
But you kind of just see it as an obsession. Well, in the TV version with the extended scenes, you learn that they're related. That they're
in the first movie.
In the television cut, in the extra scenes, we learn that Michael Myers had another sister who was younger.
Okay.
And that's Laurie. And so we get some pieces of that in Halloween 2 that, you know, for people who maybe didn't see the TV version of the first film. But, you know, Carpenter wasn't really happy with that. He didn't really want to do it. Yeah. And he really did not like Rosenthal's first cut of the film. He hated it straight up and basically took over editing and reshot some stuff and, cut up the film.
There's a ton of directing differences here that I just personally noticed. So a lot of this stuff is not cohesive by today's standard. Like if you have a director if you have two different directors, usually the studio tries to have kind of a cohesive feel to it, cohesive vision. And you know, aside from the name Halloween and the characters, like shooting looks very different, and the style, the music, it's just very, very different compared to the first one.
So that's not a director difference. This was a response to the films that came after Halloween, like
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Those films took things up a notch. They were gorier, they were more violent, they had more nudity and sex, and were considered to be more exciting for the audience. And Carpenter was worried that people would find the movie boring if they shot it like the original.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
It is, yeah. So they ratcheted things up, and it is more violent and it's more fast paced. Mike Myers moves much quicker.
He does.
In this one, when it's convenient,
Yeah.
and slower when it's convenient.
It really does feel like he chooses his speed to be a douche and not to actually like matter in the kills.
Well, I think he's doing it, to mess with people. I think this movie really shows the psychological interest that he has killing people. But let's set the scene here a little bit.
All right. So it's exactly the same night. It picks up exactly where we left off. We even get a repeat scene of the kids running down the street, Loomis finding Laurie and shooting him off the balcony.
Though that's a new version
exactly
of the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple problems with it, technically speaking. He fires 7 shots instead of 6, and you can clearly see a ramp on the balcony for Myers to walk up
hilarious.
and fall off of.
I don't think I saw that, but that's pretty great.
Yeah, because he very video game hops up onto the balcony because there's a ramp there.
Sure.
But this is pretty cool because it's very rare that a sequel picks up exactly where we left off.
Right.
Kind of the only one that comes to mind for me is like Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Yeah.
Right. It begins with the ending of Wrath of Khan and so on. There's other movies, of course, but it's rare.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cool. I really knew nothing. I guess we haven't talked about our relationship with the movie like we did in previous episodes. I've never seen this before. Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
So that was kind of fun because I had no expectations. This was the first movie we watched for the show that I went into cold. And I really actually liked the whole concept of the movie.
Yeah.
I did. I liked that it picked up exactly where we left off, that the movie's basically done in real time.
It is pretty great because like a whole reason why I like the first Halloween so much is because there is no satisfying conclusion. And in a horror film like this, where you have a serial killer on the loose, that's terrifying. Like the implications that this man took 6 shots, maybe 7, and walked away just fine.
He had been stabbed a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. The timing in this is really, really wrong. Like, the cop says, "Oh, it's not even 11 yet," and like that doesn't make any sense with how much he had to travel across Haddonfield. But
you think?
I do.
It's a tiny town.
It is, but also he's walking. He doesn't have the asylum car anymore.
I suppose that's true.
So he'd still have to like get around somehow.
Okay.
And I think it would take just a little bit longer than what we see in certain areas and time and stuff. But it makes sense to me from a story perspective that he's not done after they find those 3 bodies.
The big difference is I go into the movie having not seen the television version of the first film, assuming that he's going after Laurie to finish what he started.
Yeah, same here.
But not for any other reason. Right? But he's got some pull toward killing his siblings specifically.
But you were aware ahead of time, just from pop culture knowledge, that at one point they wrote in these 2 were siblings, right?
I had forgotten it until the movie revealed it, and then all that kind of came back to me. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I had totally forgotten that. Because it's not in the original version of the movie, of the first film. It's not in there. So my brain just wasn't going down that road.
No. And I think, honestly, like, to me, it's a little lazy that they're like, oh, no, Laurie's his sibling too. It's a weird connection,
I wouldn't call it lazy only because it's more out of desperation than laziness. Because they were forced to extend the first film, and Carpenter had to just come up with something that he could add to the movie that didn't break the movie.
Right.
Right. That was also going to be at least interesting and not just like, B-roll,
It's super funny
establishing shots.
The television version for Halloween 2 was presented almost completely uncut, but a ton of people complained, and he had to cut the movie so much. Like, there were a lot of deaths and gore and stuff just left out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this one definitely amps up that gore and stuff. But I would just say that, like, I think he was just desperate to come up with a thread that wouldn't screw up any more of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it laziness.
I guess maybe contrived. I don't know.
I hate when people use that because it's all contrived. It's all fiction. By nature it's contrived. It was desperation. He was he was desperate to come up with something.
Sure.
And I think he was like, well, how do we connect the two movies? Why would he be so interested in Laurie? Because I think Jamie Lee Curtis does such a phenomenal job in the first movie. There's no question that we're going to follow her. So I think they just tried to connect those threads. Why does Myers care so much?
Okay. That's fair.
And it does help explain the obsession. Like, yeah, he sees her, but why does he care? Why her? What's interesting about her? Right. And now we know. And so I think at the end of the day, I think it does work, and I think it does fix some of the questions that exist in the first film. Whether or not, it's perfect, obviously, I think, it's not. But I do really love the hospital concept.
The hospital is a fantastic location.
Yes.
For a serial killer movie. A small town hospital still provides a large body count, by far the largest that we've had so far, and a creepy kind of area. Like, we've been in a hospital overnight before. They, like, even in modern times, they really do dim the lights everywhere, and it
does kind of remind me of like what we went through, because we had our first kid during early COVID.
We did.
When the hospital was very much under lockdown, and there were 2 other couples on the whole floor.
Yeah, I mean, between us, the other couple, the other patients, and coworkers and employees, like, it was probably about 12, 13 people at all times.
It was weird. So this reminded me of that.
Yeah, a little bit.
There didn't seem to be any other patients, which I find maybe a little suspect, that there's not like a single person.
Well, they said that they were like, go ahead, go check the other patients.
But we never see any of them.
Michael is more concerned with the employees and Laurie.
But my question would be, why does he care about the employees? Once he can get to Laurie, I guess.
Why keep going?
But also, like, just where are these other patients? I would expect one of them to poke their head in the hallway at some point.
Yeah.
Or Myers to walk into the wrong room at some point because he heard something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of bothered me a little bit, but the set piece is still super cool, so I'm okay with it.
Hospital horror films are not done enough, considering just how large the body count is in a hospital. There's that statistic that says 1/3 of the people that walk in will never leave. You could really, like, have some good scary hospital horror movies if you wanted to.
Well, a little fright fact to go along with this: the original version of the movie did not take place in a hospital.
Okay.
It was going to take place in a high-rise, which I think could have been really cool. Very kind of Evil Dead Rises type of concept where they're trapped.
The raid.
Well, kind of, right? I think it would have been the raid, before the raid. I think there's a good opportunity there. Obviously, they didn't go that route, but I like that the whole concept was trapped in a building with this guy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like that. It's
empty hallways and.
It's kind of the labyrinth and minotaur concept. Like, there's danger.
Mm-hmm.
You have no way of knowing where it is and when it's going to get you. What year did this movie come out?
81.
81. Okay, so, and
this was a year after Friday the 13th Part 1, 3 years after the first Halloween.
Thank you for that. That's what I needed. So let's get into the body count because it's a serial killer movie.
Yeah, did you keep track? How many people died?
Okay, so let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 die.
Now, are you counting Jimmy?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not because he gets a concussion and he is woozy, but there is no confirmation on screen that he died.
Cool. There is an alternate ending and an extended cut of the film because apparently a lot of these have extended cuts, and we might have to do some revisiteds down the road where we watch these extended cuts. But in the alternate version of this, we see him getting medical help at the end along with Laurie. Good. So we do know there is confirmation in an alternate cut that he does survive.
Sounds great.
So there you go. But 10. So 10 people die.
10 people. No animals this time, even though there was a dog that barked at him in one of the few POV shots that we get. But the dog, he ignores it. So different from the first movie.
Are you counting Ben Tramer's death?
I am.
Okay.
Just because Michael doesn't kill him, this is our first victim that dies not by the serial killer, but by some other circumstance. So
because someone thinks they see Mike Myers, which I do think is important.
I do too.
Fun fact, Fright Fact here, the guy driving the police car that runs into the Ben Tramer character is also David Warlock.
Nice.
Yeah. Or Dick Warlock, excuse me. I thought that was kind of fun that he gets to play the killer either way.
It is pretty messed up for that. Like, this 17-year-old is brutally murdered. He is crushed between two cars. At high speed. Like, why is that cop driving that fast? Why couldn't he see this kid in the road? Like, I thought there was plenty of time to brake or turn or whatever to avoid this. And then no explanation at all. He catches on fire. The cars explode. I didn't see anything on those cars that would justify combustion like that.
Well, you obviously haven't watched enough Michael Bay movies.
Oh, clearly. That's our next podcast, guy.
The Baycast.
Guys, the Baycast? Oh.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
No. It's called the Baywatch.
There we go. Perfect. Baywatch, the Michael Bay podcast.
You have to say the Baywatch. Otherwise, we get a ton of people just Googling Baywatch.
Yeah, and I think it'll be funny. We're not actually doing this, but free idea out there for somebody.
Why not? Like, you are doing a Nicolas Cage podcast. I think a Michael Bay podcast could be just absolute shenanigans as a follow-up.
And what's my backdoor pilot will be The Rock or something?
Ooh. So it's really funny because you do have a randomized spinner to choose your movies. What if The Rock is the very last one?
There you go. Perfect. And go listen to the Coming of Cage podcast hosted by me and our old Screen Heroes co-host Ryan.
Yes, it is very entertaining.
Yeah, we've covered over 60 Nicolas Cage movies.
And that doesn't even count half of his IMDb.
It is about half. He's at 118, so we are past the halfway point.
He makes 3 movies every year.
There's 7 in production if you include the Spider Noir show. All right, I know.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to 1981.
Poor Ben Tramer. Do you have any more thoughts on him?
No, I thought it was kind of a fun callback because he is the guy in the first film that Laurie has kind of interest in going to the dance with.
Yeah, I'd rather go with Ben Tramer.
Yeah, so I thought that was a cool way to to do a few different things. We get to show kind of the hysteria that happens when there's tragedies like this. People start seeing the killer everywhere, which, by the way, was a warning in the first film that Dr. Loomis gives the sheriff of like, you're going to find, they'll be seeing the killer on every block, and things like that in every home. And this is an example of that. This is that fallout.
Well, we get a just quick explanation from the sheriff that somebody broke in, stole a few things, including a mask. And, it's on Halloween. There is the possibility that this mask is mass produced and other people went to pick it up this season.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's the assumption, right? Yeah. Is that he didn't make the mask. Like we know in the real world, it was a Captain Kirk mask,
oh
right?
Oh my God. How much more like Shatner did this one look? Like, I swear this one was more Shatner-y than the ones from the first movie.
Well, that's very interesting that you say that, because Fright Facts, it's the original mask.
Oh, damn.
This is the original hero mask from the first film. For those who don't know, the hero mask means it was this actual screen-used original prop.
Right.
And not a reproduction, not a backup or anything like that. This was the real mask. Now, why does it look different? Well, this was a time where movie props were not necessarily taken care of or respected the way they are today, right?
Well, a lot of the time when sets were like torn down, they were trash. Now they realize people will pay like crazy amounts, so there's auctions every like 5 minutes.
Or you might want a sequel, right? And even if you're not going to use the original, you might want to have it as a reference to make replicas and things like that.
Right. They're not going to completely throw Loki's scepter in a tub and just let it warp in the weather or something.
Exactly. And I think if they had known in 1978 that they would be making Halloween movies into the 2020s, they probably would have protected that first mask more.
Yeah.
But that first mask was beat to hell for two key reasons. Number one, in the first film, whoever was playing Michael Myers at the time would kind of like stuff the mask in their pocket between scenes.
Sure.
Right? So that was banging it up and weathering it to begin with. Then, after the movie, it sat under Deborah Hill's bed for 3 years. And she was a heavy smoker. And so it just collected dust and yellowing and things like that. And so basically it was just damaged over time.
That makes it sound really bad that I said it looked more like Shatner this time. And you're like, oh man, it's been damaged for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe Shatner was too.
Well, and the mask was given to Dick Warlock at the end of production of this film.
Yeah.
And the studio kind of regretted that later.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
So there you go.
Indiana Jones in the background going, it belongs in a museum.
Speaking of Indiana Jones.
Oh, shit.
More interesting information for you people at home. So
we've only talked about one death so far.
I know, but you keep... they're on my list here.
No, it's crazy.
Donald Pleasence, who plays Dr. Loomis, he was nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Actor. But he lost to Harrison Ford in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, I can see that.
So, there you go. That's my last Fright Fact there. Let's get back to discussing the film. So, 10 deaths, including Ben Tramer.
Ben Tramer is the second one that we see on screen. The first one is the neighbor Alice. She's the neighbor to the Elrods. And she is a fellow student who hears about the 3 bodies that were found. And she hears on the radio, she hears over the phone from Annie.
Well, her friends, voiced by...
it wasn't Annie. And she is stabbed in the chest from behind. He, comes up behind her and does it. At this point in the movie, I thought that, he was just targeting teens since he let the Elrods go.
Yeah, totally.
So it's very possible that he still kind of is. But later on, we see him murder some older people, so it could just be that those people later on are in his way to his goal, or that he saw no reason to murder the Elrods, but wanted to like get his jollies off with murdering Alice.
Yeah, I think it's the first bit. I think he's going after teens,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll go after older people if they're in his way or if it can make things more convenient.
Yeah, that's fair. I did think it was kind of hilarious that Alice is the name of the final girl in Friday the 13th,
Oh,
but the first victim in Halloween 2.
that's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, good catch. I didn't remember that.
thank you.
Very nice.
They all have very generic names, you know.
Sure.
Laurie, Alice, Nancy.
Jimmy.
He is a good final girl. I appreciate that Jimmy is very observant, very vigilant over Laurie. You know, like he's probably a year or two older than her, something like that.
Well, because his younger brother's in her class.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, and they call him college boy at one point. So he went to school with her for maybe a year. They had an overlap.
Well, I think she's supposed to be 16, if I remember right.
Right.
And so that means he's got to be 18, 19, give or take, depending on how long he's worked at the hospital.
But
so.
it comes off a little flirtatious, just a little, but
Yeah.
mostly, you know, he works as an EMT. He's picked up some bodies tonight. Like he's checking on this person and making sure she's not harmed.
Yeah.
He also knows that she has like a couple cracks in her bone. She was stabbed, and
Look, as the non-nurse and non-doctor in the room, he's doing a much better job looking after this patient than Karen is with the NICU or whatever, the nursery.
yeah, Karen is very bad at her job.
Very bad at her job.
Very bad. She is late by a lot for like Nurse Alves. We don't learn too much about her, but she says that Karen, you know, continues to be late and she won't keep her job much longer. And then, you know, she's not even on the clock for very long before Bud convinces her to have a romp in the therapy pool.
Which was so funny to me that she's like, okay, well, we'll keep the door open so I can hear the babies. You're going to hear them over this like gurgling tub. Like, come on.
No, that's
between
so
doors and
loud.
like, yeah, it's so silly. It's the most unprofessional thing in the world, but whatever.
So speaking of Karen, she's our boob count. We get 2 boobs. There are 3 shots where you see them. And this is like really where they round out Michael's character. Like he has a bit of perversion. He lets her kiss and lick his hand.
Which, can we just talk for a second?
Oh my God. How did that not taste utterly disgusting? And even if you could pass that off, it's got to taste different than what Bud just
They've got to look and feel different, too.
Right?
Like, they're 2 completely different guys. Myers is a big dude.
He is.
He's a big dude. But Bud is not a big dude.
And he's not, like, scrawny or anything, but you literally had your mouth on him, like, less than 5 minutes ago.
It's not good.
So nasty.
Yeah.
But, so he murders her. She is the 5th, but her murder is incredibly unfortunate because after she's dead, he grabs her breasts and then removes her towel. So
I guess I forgot that part.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
Yeah. I had to, like, I thought that's what I saw. Because it wasn't very overt, but I did, like, confirm that on a couple of horror websites. So, that is unfortunate. She She dies in a very painful way.
Arguably the most gruesome murder.
Arguably, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
At least the longest and most, like, actively painful.
It is a trope to punish women in, like, horror films. Like, there's always that one death that is slightly worse than others, and usually it's, like, a woman victim. So this was just unpleasant. And then, her body is defiled. Bud was murdered with a garrote off screen. We see the silhouette. And that, I thought, was a totally cool
It's shot. A good shot, yeah.
Like, it was...
It's behind her. It's it's all, like you said, all in silhouette.
Her being, kind of comfortable and maybe just a little bit warm, like she said. And then, Bud's in the background. But, he's wearing a towel. And he gets to stay that way, Meanwhile, Karen gets to be drowned and scalded at the same time. She has flesh, like, peeling off her face. And then she's violated. Like, that whole thing is very upsetting. It's
not good.
Poor choices.
It's not good. It gets worse when you read about the behind the scenes aspects of it.
Oh no.
I don't want to go, like, too deep into that
let's do it. I mean,
but
that's what we're
trying not to be negative. Remember, you wanted to have kind of a positive outlook on the movies, so I don't want
no.
get too in the...
I didn't mean, like, we can't call out problematic stuff. I meant that I personally wasn't going to be upset if, like, we got our dog on the recording. Like, that was the positive.
All right, well, so Karen is played by Pamela Susan Shoop, and she really didn't want to do nudity, but she was kind of more or less pressured into doing the topless aspects of it, and it was supposed to be a closed set, but according to her, there were close to 24 people on set.
That's not a closed set. A closed set, for the record, is, the actors.
Obviously.
Maybe a producer, a camera person, and the director. And nowadays, it's like the intimate coordinator,
Intimacy,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it wasn't that. And then they tried to pressure her to do it fully nude, and Deborah Hill actually stepped in to stop that from being a thing.
Good
but
on you, Deborah.
Pamela really hated this experience and didn't really want to do it and everything like that. Now, arguably, she does a very good job. It's a very believable death scene, know, so she pulled it off, as bad of an experience as it was for her.
Well, Pamela, if you ever listen to this, I'm terribly sorry. You don't deserve that. Bad off-screen, behind-the-scenes stories make me just so utterly sad, especially now when we know that was the norm. It wasn't the great experience for women actors.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this particular case, it was trying to chase the other movies, the other slashers that had become popular, and trying to, push the envelope and things like that. But, and all not a good way.
Yeah. So we talked about the neighbor Alice. We talked about Ben Tramer. We talked about Bud, who is utterly unlikable.
Oh, yeah, he's horrible the whole time.
He is so annoying. He's one of those guys, like, I have worked with a Bud so many times at just about every job I've had, and I do my best to stay away from them. They get it from me, and I walk away. And we just finished talking about Karen. We missed Mr. Garrett, who is our security guard.
Yeah.
And clearly he is rarely needed. He likes his job because he can just chill, read the paper, doodle if he wants, fall asleep. Like, he's not very needed. And he's well liked. Everybody's like, oh, go get Mr. Garrett. Go get Mr. Garrett. And, but he's called for the phones. He seemingly knows what he's doing. He talked about what the problem was with the phones,
Yeah.
and I was really impressed with that. Like, there's no reason why a security guard should also be a phone operator. Like, why would he know about this? He's clearly the fix-it guy around the hospital, and, you know, it seems like he's very happy with his job.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine. You liked him a
Yeah.
lot more than I did, I guess. I mean, I thought he was fine.
No, I just thought his character was cool. You know?
Yeah, he was fine. I felt
We
like...
focused a lot on the nurses. The nurses were big in this. There were a lot more nurses than there were anything else in the hospital, which is not practical, but likely.
Well, I mean, there's more nurses on duty than doctors at a hospital.
No, you're right. Yeah.
You know,
Sorry.
and in this case, there's one
I
doctor.
misspoke.
There's one doctor on duty,
Yeah.
and then there's several nurses, the security guard, two EMTs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of nurses. I think there's only
four.
four. I was gonna say
There's
three,
four.
but yeah, okay.
There's a head nurse and 3 others.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a small group, obviously,
Right.
but
No, you're totally right. That makes sense, those numbers and everything. It was just... I liked his overall position in the hospital, and
that's fair.
just the few shots we get of him seems like he fit really well, and no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, he's fine. I thought that he, went above and beyond for a guy that I don't think had a gun on him.
Right.
But, he dies too in a pretty painful way.
It does. So that is something we haven't talked about. In the last movie, in the first movie, it was really strangulation and a butcher knife.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. We have butcher knife. We have a hammer to the head with Mr. Garrett. We have a garrote. We have being...
Do you want to explain to people what that is if they don't know?
Oh, okay. So a garrote is a wire. Just a simple wire, and it's used to choke somebody. It is a very delicate weapon, and it's used like this because it's easily disposable. Very hard to get fingerprints off a wire, and it's easier to just hide. There's no blood, DNA evidence, that kind of thing. So it's easier to carry a wire on your person.
Sure.
So that's what a garrote is, if you didn't know.
And then, what else do we have? What other murder weapons? We have a scalpel.
Yeah, we have a scalpel. We have some injections.
Yeah, that's dark.
It was. The only one who got the knife is Alice. Otherwise, they were done away with in different methods.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that makes sense for the hospital. He didn't retrieve his knife out of Alice. And he, I guess, just picked up what he found around the hospital. Used what he could. Very resourceful,
Well, I think
Clearly was a Boy Scout before he murdered everyone.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. He was pretty young, but
yeah.
He is very resourceful, though.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing. He's very capable, right? He's highly intelligent. I think that's one of the things here is that he is thinking through and is calculating every move. And, because, like, one of the nurses is killed by basically bleeding her out.
Nurse Alves, the head nurse, we don't see her death. It is off screen. But Jimmy finds her body in minor OR, and he hooked up an IV to just let her bleed out. And there's that bright red fake blood on the floor.
You mean the paint?
Everywhere. Yeah. And it's just everywhere.
Fun fact, Lance guessed when he slips and hits his head, he performed his own stunt.
Oh, Lance.
I know. He's a trooper.
You brave man.
Who else dies?
Well, so Nurse Alves is very interesting to me because basically her death would have been incredibly slow.
You would think so.
And I have to imagine that he sedated her at some point because, she's probably not just going to sit there and let it happen.
I guess. It just feels like that's a lot of work. If you can sedate her, then just kill her.
Yeah.
Right? Because you risk her waking up.
Like, that's also kind of Karen's thing. Like, there's a bit more pleasure in this one.
But he doesn't stick around.
Torture.
But he doesn't know necessarily that it works because somebody could have found her. She could have woken up, possibly. Right?
Which is why the timing is a little off for me, because even to make sure that she was dead, he would have had to be there for a little while, like just to confirm it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he did. If he sedated her and then hooked up that IV thing, I think he just leaves her thinking she'll die.
Yeah.
But that, to me, doesn't match the rest of the character that's so calculating and specific. He would have wanted to confirm that. I don't think he did, because he's going to stand there for an hour or whatever, however long that took. I don't know.
It was through a huge vein, so like maybe not an hour, but definitely it's not a quick thing like the throat or even the drowning.
Yeah, so that one doesn't work as well.
No,
for me, that particular one.
But
It's
very gruesome to like walk in and see, just compared to some of the others. Like,
and it's very different because basically all of the others require some type of brute strength in the murder. Mm-hmm. This one doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Mixter and Janet actually get killed before we find Nurse Elvis. And this, again, because Jimmy is super vigilant, he goes to check in on Laurie. And we see that Laurie is kind of non-responsive, maybe a little in shock, a little comatose, medical kind of comatose. And immediately they jump to she's having an adverse reaction to the meds. I'm not quite sure that would be my first guess as watching a patient dealing with trauma like that, but good on them. So Jimmy tells Janet runs to go get the doctor, and he is unresponsive as well for completely different reasons.
Yeah, so it's the needle in the eye, which I assume he pushed air into, like he did for the nurse.
No, there's injection.
What was he injecting?
See, that's what I don't know, because as a former ophthalmic tech, you can be stabbed in the eye and it not kill you.
Well, sure.
So,
but if you push a pocket of air into the body, that can kill you.
I just assumed that medicine would be in there. Because, like, there was some sort of liquid in the prop syringe that got into Janet's head.
But, so I wonder if this is where Terminator got the idea. I wonder if it was the Drano.
Maybe.
Because if it's just medicine, even if it was a lethal amount, it's not going to kill the nurse instantly.
No,
this would have to be.
Did right when he pumped it in.
That's why I thought maybe he just did a thing of air, because if that gets to your heart, you die.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. But if it was something like Drano, that's going to kill you pretty quick.
Okay, so listeners, if you know what this was supposed to be, let us know. We're interested. We didn't really go into a ton of detail with this, so
I don't usually research that kind of stuff.
Right? It's so
that's not
weird.
on my Google history.
I have to watch my Google histories now and clear it. Be like, nope. So yeah, we're almost at the end. Nurse Franco finds Laurie after she's kind of roaming the hospital. Yeah,
so she gets up. So I'm a little unclear exactly.
Well, she was faking the adverse reaction so that she could go.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But that seemed like a jump then for the nurse to just assume, then what's the adverse reaction?
Exactly.
That she's just not talking?
Yeah.
That seems odd.
I mean, she's clearly sedated because every time we see her point of view, it's very fuzzy on the outside. So she's not in the best condition. She's already limping still.
Well, don't forget they did put her under to fix her up, right? And that takes time too. Speaking of the timing problems, right? If you're put under with anesthesia for a procedure, right, that's not 10 minutes.
No, her stab wound was stitched up, and her leg was going to get a cast. The nurse said that she had a crack, but not a break, and I'm pretty sure that is old-timey words for hairline fracture.
Yeah.
But he was going to put her in a cast after she slept. And so she's already pretty beat up. And at this point, she's running around in a hospital gown. So there's the implication that because she just had, like, surgery-ish, like a minor procedure, that she's relatively naked. Like, no.
Probably.
No bra. Definitely, but underwear maybe? I don't know.
It doesn't come into play, though, so I mean...
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with the story, but the implications and the fact that, like, in the 70s and 80s, there's tons of stories about how directors, even the good ones, like George Lucas, would try to convince their actresses to not wear underwear.
Sure. But we have no idea. There's, like, I don't know that comes into play here. We have no idea.
No clue. This is speculation for funsies out of me. But Nurse Franco has, she gets a scalpel to the back, and again, that wouldn't necessarily kill somebody right away, but he then takes it and lifts her off her feet.
Yeah.
I don't think a scalpel has that kind of, like, power, that leverage. Like, I feel like that would just cut her.
I don't know, right? I guess if it's between... between your... some
vertebrae?
Yeah, thank you. Maybe he's supposed to be extremely strong, the way he kills... what's his name in the first movie? Bob. He's an extremely strong character, just physically. So, I guess it's fine.
And then there's also, like, Mr. Garrett. We find him... Laurie finds him as she's trying to leave the hospital, and he's hung up. Like, that dude, he's a big guy. Isn't a small guy. So that also takes some brute strength. So I'm not sure. I just know that the shot of her shoes falling is just really good. It was just a good touch.
Well, it's nice to be like, okay, she's alive, and now she's not.
Yeah.
Very clever.
What shoes matter, like... Gravity didn't have an effect like 5 seconds earlier.
Because she was like tense. Yeah, she was, she was flexing.
I like that.
Right, while she was alive, and then when she relaxed, they fell off. I thought it was a really cool nonverbal way to show the moment she dies.
I agree. I like those shots. High heels do not stay on feet if you've ever worn them. That's why mine always has straps.
Sure.
Otherwise, I will fall right out of them.
Sure. I'll take your word for it.
Well, I'm not graceful.
Moving on.
So the last person on our body count is the marshal. He goes to check and see if Michael's actually dead.
Yeah, so the marshal is there to get Dr. Loomis.
Same with Marion.
The nurse from the very first movie at the very beginning, who is going with Dr. Loomis to see Michael Myers before he escapes.
Yeah, so this is the day before that she...
The night in the very first movie, the scene with her and Dr. Loomis in the car that Michael Myers steals, that would have been the night of the 30th.
Okay. So, she just saw him the day before.
She is there to
retrieve him.
To retrieve Dr. Loomis because the ward doesn't want this, like, being out in public and having him involved and all this, because they screwed up. They let this guy escape.
And, already 3 murders have been reported, and clearly there's way more that the town doesn't know about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, Dr. Loomis goes off the deep end.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he pulls a gun on this guy and
shoots out his window.
It's great. It was great. Look, I really like Dr. Loomis because this guy is kind of like the analog for the audience in these movies where
Right?
like he's the only one who really gets it and nobody will just listen to him. You know, and in the first movie the sheriff does more or less do whatever Dr. Loomis says for the majority of the film, but nobody's really taking it with the same gravity that Dr. Loomis is.
No.
You know, and they keep wanting to blame him for it when he wasn't there. He had nothing to do with it. Nobody will listen to him and take him seriously.
Yeah, he was going back up to the asylum to check on this guy to make sure he was not paroled.
And now, you know, he's like, all right, well, you know, fuck it. If none of you are going to take me seriously, I'm going to take matters in my own hands so he doesn't kill anybody else.
And he does spiral in a very short time when you factor in that both these movies take place on October 31st. But that's so perfect. It makes tons of sense. He feels guilt and some responsibility. He feels like nobody cares the way he does. And it's crazy because the rest of the cops that he talks to flat out says that this city hasn't seen anything this bad. It'll take a while for these people to get over it. And, you know, they're not really breaking up the people who are throwing literal stones at the Myers house and all the different commotions across town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, you know, things come to a head, of course, when they get to the hospital, right? And at this point, Laurie has escaped outside, right? And she's trying to leave, but she realizes that none of the cars are going to start and all of their tires are slashed. So again, Myers is extremely calculated, methodical, right? He plans this all out. He didn't want anybody getting out of there calling for help.
4 cars in the parking lot. They all were
sabotaged.
Yeah.
And he cut the phone lines. That's what the security guard was going to look for, right? So this was all very well planned. And so Laurie is trying, you know, to escape. She sees Dr. Loomis and them show up, and she is just so like loopy on the meds and stuff. She's trying to like shout out to them.
Her voice is hoarse, and she just saw Jimmy pass out. And
yeah, because he returns.
Right.
So she finally gets in with Dr. Loomis and everything like that. But here comes Myers.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, Dr. Loomis unloads his new gun on him. And
he gives another gun to Laurie.
Well, that's in a little bit. Yeah. But you know, he's telling the other guy what was his role?
The marshal.
Marshal, thank you. I kept wanting to say sheriff, and I knew that wasn't right. The marshal, he's like, don't go near him. He could still be alive. I shot him 6 times before, right? And of course, Myers is still alive, and he kills the marshal, and you know,
he sits up so fast to just.
It's pretty quick. That kind of sit up motion. He does it in the first film. After the closet scene towards the end. I really love that. It's very unnatural.
Yeah.
Right? In a way. Because we're supposed to believe, right? If Dr. Loomis is right, this is a not quite human creature. And I love that.
I do too. Part of it is your own fear as the audience member. You're like, oh my God, so that should put him down. Like, why is he still getting up, you know? And each time it's just worse and worse and worse. Like, the coat hanger to the eye is a distraction and a permanent injury, but not going to kill you. And, you know, the 6 bullets to the chest and the fall, you know, well, that could kill you. Like, I guess it's possible, but that you're alive, but how are you walking?
Right. Yeah, there's no such thing as like a broken bone, I guess.
Right.
But this is where the climax of the movie really happens. You know, so Laurie and Dr. Loomis are trying to escape Myers in the hospital. They end up basically barricaded inside the other surgery room. So it's a dead end.
Right.
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
And yeah, Laurie's got the revolver from the first movie now, right? And
Which has been reloaded.
Right. And she does shoot Myers in the face twice. And, blood comes down the mask, which is very iconic these days, of course. And
love that. That's a fun shot.
Well, and he's blind, and he's trying to swipe around with the scalpel or whatever that he's still got, and he can't see.
And they've released all the random gases, the nitrogen, the oxygen that needs to be used during certain surgeries, and God, so clever.
And Dr. Loomis blows himself up with Michael Myers.
What an action hero thing to do.
That's awesome.
Like, that is not a horror movie ending. That is an action hero movie. Like,
yeah, it's definitely more Aliens.
Yeah.
It's great. It's awesome. And we watch Michael Myers burn. The mask is burning. This is the stunt mask, by the way. This is not the hero mask, for those curious. Supposedly the explosion was bigger than intended.
Oh, damn.
So when Jamie Lee Curtis kind of falls back, that was because it was bigger than it was supposed to be, and it actually caught her off guard.
So, let's talk about...
Just getting some water. Don't mind me.
Let's talk about a few other things. First of all, do you have any more Fright Facts for us?
I do. I do have some more Fright Facts. This is the final Halloween movie released by Universal Studios until the 2018 film.
Cool.
Trancas International had the rights until 1996, and then Miramax purchased them from 1996 to 2018, for those who are interested in those types of things. There is a novelization of this movie as well.
Nice. I love novelizations because A, they're usually very bad. And B, they explain way more than what needs to be explained. And I love them for those reasons. They're not bad because the authors don't have talent. It's because they have to put it out so fast.
Sure.
And they have to make it different from the movie enough for people to purchase both.
No, that's fair. The last bit that's kind of interesting has to do with the Blu-ray release of this movie in 2011. When that came out, it included the alternate ending and some other stuff, but people were really mad because the opening credits changed. And instead of saying a Mustafa Akkad production, and he was involved in almost all of the Halloween movies as a producer.
Good on you, dude.
Including the original. Instead of that, it said Universal and MCA Company. And fans were really pissed about it. And there was a big uproar. And a year later, a new version came out by another company. This included additional special features. Oh, the TV cut of the movie, because there's another of those. And then they restored Akkad's credit at the beginning of the movie. So he produced 8 Halloween films. And they tried to remove his credit, which is just kind of a shitty thing to do. But that's the version where we can confirm that Jimmy survived.
Got it.
By the way, for those who are curious. But there you go. Yeah, those are the Fright Facts I had. Of course, there's more out there, but those are some of the highlights.
Okay. So there is a couple things we didn't talk about. So first of all, I found the opening credits to be incredibly effective as far as horror goes, because you slowly get closer and closer. You zoom in on the pumpkin, and it's carved a little differently from the first one, but it opens up and there's this horrific skull inside, and just the goo from the pumpkin gives me the lights and everything. It reminds me so much of It. And
that's interesting.
When Pennywise hypnotizes them with the lights, and it's really cool. It was a really good shot, and just very effective to set the tone for the film.
Well, there was one other thing that I thought that was really interesting about the opening credits. So if you notice, Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasence are shown at the same time. Their names are shown at the same time. Hers is on the right, but higher. His is on the left, but lower. And that, I'm trying to find it. It's there's a term for that, but it's a special way of ensuring that both actors are given the same credit.
Because in English, we read left to right, but we read up to down. So
exactly.
Top to bottom.
So that way there is no top billing. They are both equally credited as the top billed person. And I was trying to find what that was called. Here it is. Nope, that was not it. Nope, it's in here, I promise. But you can keep talking.
Okay, so another thing that caught me as almost completely unnecessary is the elementary school scene. They say that he even drew out a picture of his family and then put the knife like through Judith.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The word Samhain is on the blackboard in blood. Whose blood? Did you just choose, right? Like, he just used his to write that. Very neat handwriting, by the way, when using blood.
Well, he's been stuck in a prison. What else is he going to do but calligraphy?
So, as someone who adores ancient cultures and holiday histories, I have a little deep dive fun facts into Samhain. First of all, they pronounce it Samhain, and that is a phonetic pronunciation by an American. Samhain is a ancient, well, old-timey Celtic word, and so therefore not pronounced the way we would say it.
That's fair.
Is a Gaelic festival. It does have ties to pre-Christianity Druidic people. It was celebrated as a seasonal holiday to kind of mark the end of the harvest and the beginning of winter. There would be giant bonfires, which were considered, just cleansing, and it was a lot of fun. It'd be a party from October 31st to November. Samhain is also the Celtic name for November, the month. Oh. And there was also this belief that it was a liminal holiday where the doors to other realms were weak and you could make contact with past souls, as well as spirits or fairies, depending on who it was. You could make offerings to them if you wanted to.
Do you think that's why he has, like, inhuman abilities?
Maybe.
That he only has them during that window?
Maybe. It's very possible that in this movie, the connection is kind of bullshit. And stuff that Loomis says about Samhain is very, very incorrect.
That's a shame.
It made it out to sound like an evil holiday or something, like, it was full of human sacrifices and stuff like that. And that was never it. Like, a lot of ancient cultures would sacrifice some livestock to gods or spirits, but it never was a human sacrifice kind of holiday.
Until now.
There would be some fun things that we see in Halloween now. They would do mumming or guising, where they would dress up in disguises and go to people's houses or taverns or just buildings, and they would recite verses or sing songs in exchange for food.
Oh, they'd be so happy with what we do.
I know, right? And it's theorized that the mumming or guising was used to disguise yourself from the spirits.
Gotcha.
Or the fairies.
Sure.
And then also, since it was a time that people believed that past souls could come back and return, they would visit their families and they would set a place for their previous family members at their table. So we see that in a lot of Dia de los Muertos with the offerings and the altar and the ofrenda.
Sure.
I said that really exaggerated, ofrenda.
I've seen Coco.
Yeah. Good job, honey. Good job. And then later on, the Catholic Church renamed this, just like they did solstice and Easter and everything. And so it was called All Saints Day. And the next day, November 2nd, is called All Souls Day. And they pretty much celebrate it very similarly, but with like a Catholic praying not so fun twist. Because the Catholic Church's motto is, if it feels good, you stop.
Okay. Great.
That is a joke from Adam Ferrara. That is not like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that it would be very interesting to kind of talk about that, because that scene is very out of place. And like I said, it works against the timing, because he stopped at an elementary school, drew a picture, and wrote in blood.
It does come off like they were trying to pad time a little bit.
Yeah.
And this isn't even the TV version of the movie. This is just the regular theatrical cut.
Right.
Going back to the opening credits.
Please, yeah.
I got it. It's called First Place Above and Below. That's what it's referred to as. And like I said, it's designed to give equal billing to both people. This is not the only movie to have done it. It's been done other times. But that way there isn't a top billed person. So, there you go.
Before we end, I'm getting close to running out of content. Did you notice something different about Jamie? Jamie Lee Curtis?
Maybe her hair?
Yeah.
That's a wig.
Yeah, it is. She started keeping her hair very short. Very classic Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
She cut it. And, it takes place 5 seconds after the last one ended. So she had to wear a wig. And I didn't think it was very noticeable, but because you and I have cosplayed in the past, I just noticed the difference between a real hairline and a wig hairline. Did you catch it in the film?
No, it just came up in my research.
Got it.
Yeah. No, I didn't catch it. I wasn't paying that close of attention to it, but yeah, good eye.
Thanks.
But that is all I have. Those are all of my fright facts and details.
Any other thoughts on Halloween
I like the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it would be really fun to watch a super cut of the two films spliced together.
The Snyder cut.
Yeah, I want the Snyder cut of Halloween 1 and 2. I think that would be awesome. You joke, but I'd watch it.
No, I would too.
But no, seriously.
I love that kind of stuff. If somebody put together the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, I would make sure that I had a pillow, food, and catheter, ready to go.
No, but I need those movies to end so I can go get more food. I need that break to go get more food. Yeah, even Snyder put chapters in Justice League.
Thank you so much. Snyder. That was very kind of you.
But I like this movie. I think it does tie really well with the first one in a way that we don't get often with sequels. And I enjoyed both of these enough where I want to go watch the other versions of the movie. I want to see the TV cuts. I want to see the alternate endings. I like it. Mm-hmm. So that's me. What about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. They really upped the ante. That is something that sequels usually do, but not this much. The first one was very kind of cerebral stalking terror, something you feel is behind you, eyes are watching you kind of thing. This one is sheer panic terror kind of thing, especially if you're one of the last people to die after you've seen people disappear. And the nurse Franco, who discovered all of the cars had been messed with, and she can't find Laurie, and she can't find the doctor, and she's just running around, and she's the last nurse to be killed off. Panic, just sheer panic. And so I thought that was good.
Yeah, I mean, the dynamic between the two movies, it reminds me a lot of Alien and Aliens.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
You know, I mean, obviously, Laurie doesn't reach the Ripley level of Aliens, right? There's no mech suit, but
Laurie also was never, like, a pathetic character. It's not like she grew. She was the only person to notice this jackass just following.
But that's the same as Ripley, though.
Yeah,
like, I really think the stories really mirror each other quite nicely. Where, you know, the first movie of both is the being hunted, the being chased, you know, kind of concept.
In all fairness, Ripley did have a lot of time on ice to just in between to reflect and
she was asleep.
Be prepared. I know.
She was in cryostasis.
But in this movie, like, Laurie gets nothing, and you know, she doesn't get to grow as a hero. I
mean, there's a little bit of she's awake for a couple of months, you know, between the two movies. But either way,
yeah,
you know, my point is
right.
The tone and style of the movies are very similar. Where the tone of the first film is very much the being chased, hunted horror aspect, and the second one's more of an active, you know, film. There's more action going on.
Absolutely.
The fighting back is taken up a notch, you know, things of that level.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Halloween 2, Electric Boogaloo.
That joke will never get old. It works for every sequel.
Halloween 2, the Halloween inning.
That means that my last bit for this episode is my trivia question. Do you know what actor who went on to become incredibly successful made his opening debut or his like introduction in this film?
Is it not?
We don't answer.
Oh, you're not asking me.
Yeah.
I see.
Well, I mean, if you know about it, that's great.
Gotcha.
And we can talk about it after the mics get turned off. But that is for the next episode.
That's fair. Can I confide in you with something?
Do you want to
just you and me? No, nobody else is here. Whenever somebody says, "Do you know?" I immediately think the Muffin Man.
Nice.
I can't help it. Yes,
nice.
I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane. I
wish that was my go-to. A lot of the time, especially the way the cadence you just said it makes me think of the Christmas song, Mary, Do You Know?
Oh, no. It's Shrek for me. You know?
Yeah.
The Muffin Man!
I wish that was mine.
So there you go. A little about me. All right, that's all I got.
I love it. Okay, guys, we will be back in 2 weeks with Friday the 13th.
Part 2.
Part Electric Boogaloo.
That's right. We'll catch you next time, everybody. Happy Halloween.
This has been Lovin' Slashers.
We are hosted by Rae and Derrick Mayer.
And produced by Derrico Studios.
The show music is by Levi Kutsky.
The show logo is by Derrick Mayer.
Find all of our links at loveandslashers.com.
Thanks for listening, and keep trying to be that final girl.